Let's talk about CJ's trajectory then. He was January 2016. He got expelled from school for what's been described as low-level disruption. He had ADHD.
Yeah.
These things often go hand in hand.
Yes, they do.
Primary school, he had a classroom assistant, but he didn't have that at secondary school?
No, he had no. He went from having a classroom assistant, a small place in the classroom where he could actually study, a furball like for when he wanted to sit on the carpet and they're having reading and stuff, to actually having no support whatsoever in secondary school.
Okay, now I can't quite believe that within 6 months, from January 2016 to November 2016, everything got turned upside down. Let's work out why. Because in November 2016, you took a call from your boy.
Yeah.
And he told you he was being made to sell drugs on the street until 9 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
But that means he'd already fallen into the clutches of this local drug gang, and that I believe was because they hang around literally outside pupil referral units, just like the groomers in the north of England hang around outside children's homes and areas where vulnerable girls might be. They're looking for vulnerable boys like CJ.
Yeah.
What made him vulnerable, do you think?
CJ is a very friendly child. He likes to make friends. He likes to be... He's an attractive young boy. I say it like that because he likes to meet girls, boys of that nature to socialise with.
Of course.
The way I see it, when you've been seen as a problem, you want to make friends and you want to become a part of something. When you go to a place that you have no normal dealings with people that are they're bad. Pupil referral units are children that are not being disruptive for numerous different things. He was, like I said, low disruptive behaviour. Yeah. I think he shouldn't have gone there in the first place. That we could have chose different ways to deal with his behaviour. However, he's been put in an area where he didn't know what was going on around him. He didn't know the levels of behaviour issues that these other children have. When you're meeting people that are teenagers outside the school and they're wanting to show you that they want to become your friend, what child wouldn't want to become a person that's older's friend?
Yeah.
When you're not being shown anything wrong.
Someone with a car, someone with money in their pocket.
Someone that's saying, for us to the shop, we'll get you a drink.
And they start with little gifts.
Yeah, little drink, fish and chips, or chicken and chips, should I say.
Yes.
And it's one of those after school things. Kids always goes to shop after school.
But I'm not scared yet.
No, you're
from
not
what you're describing.
That's exactly.
I'm not scared yet.
You're just interacting. You're just becoming new friends with somebody, and then that moves to a point where you're supposed to be going to a youth centre after school. You're going to this youth centre, but then somebody says, "Oh, we're all going here," so you go there with everybody else, and then you're seeing lines of stuff that you didn't see before. What I mean is, you're seeing drug dealings going on. You're seeing weapons. You're seeing all this money being flashed.
Could you see it as glamorous, perhaps?
He probably could have seen it as glamorous and didn't know how to accept it because he's a child and he's not been brought into that lifestyle before. All those kind of things are on TV.
Yeah.
So for then somebody to then say to you, well, you've got to go and do this and you've got to go and do it till 9. And
that would be because either he was frightened of what they'll do if he said no, or because they persuaded him that he was somehow in their debt because they'd given him stuff, they'd possibly given him some weed or something
well,
like that.
I wouldn't say weed. I probably think it was the fact
just
of
sweets and food.
Yeah,
and
or just I really couldn't tell you because CJ's not here to tell us.
No, I know that.
That the other way I look at it is the fact that on that night, I was calling him because I know the youth centre closes at 6.
Yeah.
I'm calling him. He's answering the phone, but he's being very abrupt. And he's like, "Mum, I'll call you back."
Right.
And then he calls me back, and he says to me, "Mum, these boys are telling me I need to sell drugs till 9."
Right.
That came out of the blue.
Seriously.
That came literally.
How long had he been
blue.
in the PR unit?
He'd been there. He was there from January, so this is November.
So 6 months later.
No, this is November.
February, March, April, May, June, July. So yeah, about 8 or 9.
Yeah. So now,
what did you do?
Exactly. So I didn't want to be like, "What do you mean?" or say anything. I just wanted to get to him and know what the situation is. So I asked him where he was. He said Maryland, and when he said that, he literally put down the phone straight away.
Right.
I phoned a friend and asked that person to look. CJ said this to me. I don't know my head from my tail right now.
Sure.
I just need you to come with me and let's find him. We went round in a taxi until we saw him on a bike. And when I saw him on that bike, I called his name out from the car. I even was telling the Uber driver of this situation because I couldn't believe what I was being told.
No, you've woken up in a nightmare.
I was literally in a nightmare.
Sure.
And it never ended. So
What did you do that night? You found him with a rock?
I saw him. He came off the bike. We went behind a bush. I remember it just like it was yesterday. I said, CJ, what have you got? And he opened his rucksack, and I saw little rocks. And
crack cocaine.
Yeah, and heroin. And I'm feeling his hands, and his hands is shaking. I said, don't worry. If there's ever a time in life that you should trust me, it's this moment right now. And he's like, Mum, you don't know. You don't believe these. You don't know these boys. They're dangerous. I said, CJ, I've got you. And I literally just had to look him dead in the eye. And I just need you to listen to me and follow through what I'm asking. I asked him to ride his bike home, and I ran behind him as he was riding his bike home. It was about, I say, 5-10 minutes away. He got home, he put the bike where I needed him to put in. He went upstairs, and then I just took him in my arms, went upstairs, and I was just so grateful. The fact that he had the courage to tell me.
Yes.
He knew he was above his head.
Yeah.
And he wanted, the only person that he knows has got him is me. And he turned to me, and I from that moment on, I just wanted to install in him that anytime you feel like somebody's doing something that you don't want, you can come and tell me. And he never looked back from that moment.
So you took him out of the PRU?
Yeah, I took him out the following morning. He never went back.
At home.
Yep.
But within a year, he was dead.
Yeah.
What happened?
He was in a park in the middle of the day.
But you got him out of that world.
He was out of that world, but the thing is, what was going on in that area, Newham, is really rampant. It's going on crazy. Like, certain kids want to be friends with these people, but they don't want to do the actual acts. So you're in between, and I can only say that I couldn't help who CJ became friends with. However, he wasn't that way inclined. Yes, they may have been trying to grasp on, but even in the greater aspect of it, he wasn't a member of a gang. He wasn't trying to be like that. He was listening to me. He's staying at home. He's trying to wait for us to get a move so that we can come out of this area, so he doesn't need to be around such people. So the way I looked upon it is that he's just trying to save face, so to speak.
Okay, I understand that. So he's out of the world of crime, but he's still on the fringes of the people who are committing crime.
Yeah. So
also that day in the park with his friend, possibly, he is seen as someone who's
affiliated.
Affiliated, but also B, someone who's got out of it, which is the last thing they want to.
Yeah.
And you still haven't had anything that remotely resembles justice, because although people must know who did it, no one's going to come forward and talk to the police.
No,
how does that make you feel?
It angers me. However, I'm not stopped talking because that was my son, and this situation hasn't ended. My son is dead, and that's the first time I've actually ever said it out of my mouth like that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I noticed you spoke about him in the present tense when you first came in. It was still CJ is and CJ likes.
So just me saying that right now, I know he's not here. That hurts me beyond. But everything that I planned as a mother, I invested in my son. I loved my son. I showed him everything of how to be a productive member of society. And unfortunately, other things was much stronger than me. And he's no longer here. And I will talk upon that because of how much love I had for him, how much dedication I had to him. The fact that he had ADHD was one thing. I just made him know that he was unique, and that Richard Branson apparently has it. Justin Timberlake, other members, and they're fine in life. So that was never an issue for me. The fact of what was going on around him was the biggest issue, and that's why I drew to education, I drew to social workers, I drew to the police, I drew to my housing, because I needed to get him out of that situation by any means necessary.
You did, and he just got dragged back in again.
Well, yeah.
There's not a lot you can do, really, by the time he's that age. You can't lock him in a box.
No, you can't. That's the whole point. You want a child to be who he's supposed to be. However, you're supposed to protect them. And again, him being in a park in the middle of the day is supposed to be fine. So really what you've got to look at is that these criminals, as we see them, are being so brazen that they really have no care. We have to be able to cripple that situation. We have to be able to get that under rein. For murders to be happening during the day in a children's park next to schools.
Beggars belief. How did you get the call?
My father FaceTimed me because it was literally a minute and a half away from my dad's house. This is all in my neighbourhood. This is in my neighbourhood. So he wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary. That's what you need to understand.
Yeah,
he was actually at the point of when he passed, he was doing everything I needed. He was just waiting for us to move out of the area because I told him, what's going on out there, son? I know it isn't you, but things can happen like it did.
The police have made no arrests. They think that the vehicle, don't they, this Range Rover, could be the key to cracking the case. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that there's somebody listening to this radio programme at this moment in time who knows more about this story than you do. The vehicle, it's a grey Range Rover Sport stolen from southwest London on the 24th of August, but they're still looking for it because presumably there might be evidence that would help identify the murderers of your son. So we'll share all those details via social media. We'll put them up on the LBC website. Crime Stoppers are, as always, offering complete anonymity to anybody who knows anything about this. We've got the identification number of the car, the engine number of the car. So somebody somewhere in a scrapyard or in a forecourt
will know something.
They will, won't they?
Yeah. And there's a 20,000 reward for any information that leads to a prosecution.